And here we are. We are live now. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and I will maximize the presentation so everybody can see it. Lisa, I think that's what I'm doing. Hold on.
I see it. It's already maximized.
Okay. I'm looking for the chat. I don't have
It's
the
it.
chat.
It's
Okay,
at the
there it
very
is.
bottom on the left.
All right, we're good. We are good to go. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I am going to switch this. I'm going to take this take us off camera so this can be maximized because there's some text on these slides, and I want to make sure that everyone's going to be able to read it.
Okay.
So, you ready to kick this thing off, Jan?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. So, welcome everyone. This is a discussion about the future of project management. If you are a project manager, you work with project managers, you employ project managers, or want to become a project manager, this webinar will be of interest to you. So what we're going to talk about today is AI. What is it? Why all the hype? And why you should care. And we're also going to talk about the human skills that can save your job, what they are, how you can leverage them. So our goal today is to have you leave this webinar with a strong sense of what's going on and what action you can take to ready yourself for the future, which is honestly happening now. The future is now. So we're going to introduce ourselves. Jan, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jan Smid. I'm president of Corporate Copia LLC. I've been the owner of this company for 25 years. It says here that I'm an expert in project management and leadership. That sounds so modest, but Teresa wrote this, not me. I've been teaching project management and interpersonal skills for 30 years. We lived overseas for 15 of those years in Norway and England. In Norway, I worked for a university called People's University and taught a wide range of interpersonal skills in classes. In the US, I partnered with, when I came back in 88, I partnered with UGA and Gwinnett Tech to teach PM fundamentals and PMP classes. Also, a 25-day leadership program for the University of Georgia. Got to travel all over the United States with that. That was really a lot of fun. I am semi-retired, as you can see here. I can't walk away from my work, which I absolutely love. I was PMI Public Relations Chair and board member. I was the first one. They used to have special interest groups, or do they still have those?
They call them, well, for PMI Atlanta, we call them forums.
Forums? Okay,
Yeah.
we called them special interest groups, and they created a sales and marketing special interest group. And I was the very first person for the sales and marketing SIG, or forum, to present in Philadelphia, which was a great honor. And I do have a master's degree in project management. Take it away, Teresa.
Awesome. Thank you, Jan. I am Teresa Durham. I am the owner of Teresa Durham LLC, and I am a project manager and consultant and AI enthusiast. Sorry, I'm cleaning my glasses off here because I couldn't see. I keep forgetting I can't see without my glasses. I have my glasses on. So, so I have over 25 years of project management experience. I am a current PMI Atlanta board member, and I've been volunteering with the chapter for about 12, 15 years, something like that. I am the creator of More Than a PM podcast, which you should be hearing more about soon here. I am the author of the Project Passport newsletter that can be found on LinkedIn, and you can also join the mailing list for that. And I am a traveler and lifelong learner. So that is me. So how about we just jump into this, right? The future of project management. So I'm going to tell you the future of project management is AI. You can run, but you can't hide. All right. So what I like to do before when I do any presentation is level set and make sure we're all talking about the same thing when we throw these terms around, right? So Jan, could you please talk to us about define what is project management and then tell us why it's important to business?
Okay, well, back in the dark ages, when I got my master's degree in project management, I was so excited. I told even people in the grocery store who would listen to me that I graduated with a master's degree in project management. And they all looked at me because this was years in 98. They looked at me like I was crazy because they hadn't heard about project management at that point. And they'd say, well, what does that mean? And I said, it was it was a better way to handle processes and tools successfully to complete a project. I got that from the PMBOK. And they would still look at me like, what does that mean? So that was long ago. Now we know the importance of project management. Project managers must use their interpersonal skills and knowledge to manage the 3 Ps of people. That's what we're talking about now and stressing, processes, and priorities in order to complete tasks more effectively and efficiently, resulting in the project success being, which is the 3 most important things on projects, being on time, within budget, and meeting customers and stakeholders' expectations, having a very happy customer. There is a draft of the new 8th PMBOK, the 8th edition of the PMBOK on the PMI website. And if you're a member, you may be able to see it. I got to see just an outline of it. I know when it came out and I was working full time, I got to see the 7th edition before anybody else did, which really helped me prepare for going forward for classes. I don't know if they're doing that yet. They said it would be published in 2025. But what excited me when I saw that, there was a bullet that said one of the changes to the new 8th edition is that leadership and emotional intelligence was a new category. This is verbatim. It said the 8th edition continues to emphasize the importance of leadership and emotional intelligence in project management. So I will talk about EI and leadership later as we go on into this webinar. But the second part of the question is, why is project management important to businesses? Well, project management has what they call the best practices, will help your organization in many, many ways. One of the key things right now out in the political arena is tariffs, which affect trade, which affect competition. And so what everybody's worried about is global competition. How does project management help us compete? The structure that PMI has is geared towards innovation and growth by stressing high quality and efficiency. This results in, hopefully, in beating your competition to market with high quality product deliverables. Speed to market is key in this competitive environment, especially with software development. And in the challenge, Teresa addresses all the changes in AI and how some of them don't meet quality standards and some of them really do. And she's constantly telling me how there's updates to all the different AI tools that are out there. The other thing it does is that it increases accountability. Project management does by setting clear, realistic goals. Realistic's the key here because I've seen so many goals that were unrealistic. The project manager has the opportunity to have each member of the team accountable for their responsibilities. they check in regularly. I have not seen this consistently, unfortunately, but it's so important to both parties if the project manager checks in recently to see if the team member needs help or if they are on time with their deliverable. And then the third one, because there's many, is collaboration within other departments. PMI is very big right now on using a hybrid approach like agile integration in conjunction with waterfall or any other different approaches, which we're not going to get into today. But these approaches support a more cross-functional team. That means people from different departments working on the project. These approach by adding various knowledge and skill levels, by using the people from these different departments, you get a more complete deliverable. I once heard a story where they were getting a new phone system and they just considered the one department and they didn't their own department and they didn't involve the other departments in the company. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it's the absolute truth. Well, when they put in the phone system, it only worked for that department. It didn't satisfy the needs of all the different departments. So they had to redo everything. So it cost them a fortune. So it's important to involve all the stakeholders within who are affected by the project so they can have their input. And hopefully by using people from different departments, it'll help break department barriers, which is an issue in corporate America now. There are many reasons why project management is important to businesses in our current economy. Can you think of a few? Is anyone out there? Can anybody participate?
Yeah, we've got, it looks like most folks are on the YouTube channel. I'm not sure about LinkedIn, but I just like to add one of the things that I like to say as a consultant is when I talk to people, hey, project management is important to your business because if you have a strategic plan, you're going to get there through projects. And if you want to be successful, then you want to have a good, solid project manager leading those projects. So, I wish I had thought of a more eloquent way to say it, but really, businesses, organizations reach their goals through projects. They have to go through some kind of change to get to where they want to be. And they do that through projects. And if you want to have a successful project, you need to have a good project manager who's practicing solid project management principles. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So let's move on. I think we beat that to death.
Well, you did well. But one thing they found out that they didn't add strategic planning until like the fifth PMBOK, and they realized that people weren't even making strategic plans, or if they did, they put them on a shelf and never looked at them again.
Oh, you're talking about PMI?
Yeah, PMI.
Yeah.
Added the PMBOK, added strategic planning, the importance of how it is to project management. And it's because every single initiative that they came up with was either a project or a program, just like you said. And a lot of people didn't realize that until PMI embraced strategic planning as an integral part of project management.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's talk about the transformative rise of AI. So as you mentioned, project managers must be adaptable by nature. You talked about traditional, waterfall, Prince 2, Agile, Kanban, Scrum, and like you mentioned, again, hybrid. ways to manage projects, project management professionals have had to adapt over time to these new frameworks, new tools that come into play, and technologies. And now, one of the most significant changes, at least technologically, that we've experienced is the rise of artificial intelligence. AI is everywhere. It's quickly becoming an essential part of our lives, let alone our project management toolkit. And if it's not yet for you, then it will be soon. But let's take a beat. Okay. So I'd like to hear from you guys out there in the audience. Hey, you guys. And I'd like to know how you're feeling about AI. And can you relate to any of these images? So if you're out there and you're available, feel free to drop something in the chat and let us know. Because when we put this webinar together, we did it with people who are, maybe hesitant about AI, or they don't really understand it, or maybe there's some fear around it. That's who we had in mind. And I have to tell you, these images represent the people that I'm encountering as I'm out and about talking about AI. I don't know if you can tell, but this guy on the left has his head buried in the sand.
I love that. Yeah.
The girl in the middle, it's like, I don't know what she's wishing for, but it could be like, ooh, I hope AI doesn't impact me. I hope it doesn't come over here, right? Ooh, I hope this AI thing goes away. I don't know. Fingers crossed. I hope this isn't as bad as they're saying it is. I don't know. And the last person is like, I don't want to hear it. So I doubt those people are on the call. They probably saw, the information about this on social media and scrolled past it because they don't want to hear about it, right? So I'm noticing some people have actually a visible, visceral response when I talk about AI. I'm in some chat groups, or even just around the internet, on social media. People are hating on any mention of AI. If you mention AI or you post an AI picture, it's like people are jumping all over you. Even in AI specific groups, I'm seeing this, which is hilarious to me, because if this group is focused on creating AI art, and then you post a picture saying, oh, here's what I created with AI, and then someone in the group, they had to join the group to comment, says, ugh, that doesn't look very realistic. You might as well hire a photographer. You do better hiring a photographer, and things like that. Why are you in the group? Because I don't know. It's just like a lot of people are hating on it. But, love it or hate it, it's here and it's not going anywhere, right? So here's where I am. I don't have a crystal ball, right? I can't tell you what the future holds. And anybody else that says they can, be leery of that person, because they are not telling the truth. But wisdom and the writing on the wall tells me to jump on this train or get run over, right? Get an understanding of AI, what it is, what it can and can't do. Learn how to use AI to make me productive and continue to be valuable to my employer or my client. And stay plugged in and follow how things are progressing. So being a project manager, I mentioned we're adaptable. Change happens all the time. We need to be able to adjust to those changes. So keep an eye on what's happening so you can make the proper adjustments. So that's what I'm doing with regard to AI, because I don't know what's going to happen, right? And that's what I'm encouraging you all to do. So let's get some things straight. Let's make sure we're all on the same page with what AI is, right? AI, artificial intelligence. It's a broad field within computer science, and it's focused on the development of computer systems that can perform tasks typically requiring human intelligence. So things like learning from experience, recognizing patterns, understanding language and sensory input like sounds or text or images, solving problems and making decisions. So, we just, this thing seemed to have blown up overnight, right? The past couple of years is when just kind of every day, everybody's been talking about it. But AI's been around since 1950. So it's not a new thing. It's just new to the public realm, the everyday, I don't say the everyday Joe, but the public at large has access to it. So that's why it's in everybody's vocabulary lately. So I mentioned that AI as a broad term and it can get confusing. So let's see if we can make this make sense. So this, I split it up by capabilities, right? If we look at AI on a spectrum, um, if we look at AI on a spectrum, consider artificial narrow intelligence or ANI, and that's what we are now. Weak AI. Everything that we know about AI exists under this artificial narrow intelligence umbrella, if you will, right? So then there's general AI or AGI, and that's the thing that everybody seems to be racing to get to. This is theoretical. We have not reached this yet. Okay. This, the best way I can put it is that it aims to replicate human level intelligence. So it would have, AGI would have an intellectual capabilities comparable to a human across a wide range of cognitive tasks, or it would be able to learn new tasks and adapt to unfamiliar situations without extensive reprogramming. So narrow AI, which is what we're doing now, while it's sophisticated and it wows us every day, it's still specialized and it lacks the broad cognitive abilities of us, of humans. So when I say specialized, I'm talking about things like coding, image generation, writing, math. If you think about it, well, I remember when I first started hearing about AI and these large language models and the chatbots, and someone was like, it's not good at math. I'm like, how can a computer not be good at math? It's made of math, right? It doesn't make sense to me. But that's the specialization that we're talking about. So if you look at the third level, which is super AI or ASI, that's like surpassing the cognition of humans. Okay, so the machines would surpass human intelligence in virtually every cognitive domain. um, an ASI could potentially redesign and enhance its own capabilities, of course at a fast rate, and then it would be like intelligent beyond humans understanding, if that makes sense. There's unpredictable potential with super AI. That's Skynet stuff. That's science fiction stuff. When you see these movies and this AI has become not self-absorbed, but aware of itself, and it's doing these things, and everybody's scared, it's taking over, and it decides humans are the problem. That's super AI. Again, theoretical. We have not reached this, and we're just thinking based on everything else that we see that this could be a possibility. Now, when, who knows, hundreds of years from now, maybe, at the rate we're going, I don't know, 6 months from now. I don't know. But yeah, so if you think of AI by its capabilities on a spectrum, we are at artificial narrow intelligence. And anything beyond that is theoretical. Okay. So another way I'd like to, I guess, maybe consider we're dropping another level. Let's talk about branches of artificial intelligence. So these things will probably be more familiar to you. These are the things that you probably touch or you use or you hear about on the news or read about online and stuff. So number one, first branch, learning from data. So this is spotting patterns and making predictions. like machine learning or deep learning. Things that fall under this branch of AI would be things like spam filters, recommendation systems. So, like on when Netflix says, "Hey, you watch this movie, you'll probably like these," or Amazon says, "Hey, here's some products you might like," or Spotify says, "Hey, check out this podcast." It's all based on things it has learned from you, what you watched, what you listened to, what you purchased, and so forth. Um, Things like predictive text and autocorrect. However, my autocorrect has just been off the chain lately. On my phone, it's just, I don't know what happened to it, but it's not acting right. It does some weird stuff. But anyway, back to the branches. Understanding language, reading, writing, chatting, and translating. So that's natural language processing, and GPTs, which is an open AI term. Um, okay, I know this says GAP bots, but that's supposed to be chat bots and voice assistants. So examples of this, you all know voice assistants. Remember when we got so excited about Alexa? I'm saying it quiet because there's one in here with me. Alexa, get Siri, Google. Can you guys hear me? I'm whispering. I don't want to say their names out loud or they respond. But these voice assistants. Everyone has used them. Translation. How about you go to another country and you don't speak the language and you pull out your Google Translate on your phone, right? That's another AI understanding language. Of course, everyone's been using the chat bots. What is it? Chat GPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, and so forth. And then, of course, the summarization tools. This is one of my favorite AI tools. The note takers. Take them to the meeting with you, or let them in the meeting with you, and they will listen in, summarize your meeting, pull out the important points, pull out action items, identify who was talking, all that stuff. That's part of the understanding language branch. Then, if you look at seeing the world, things like computer vision. I remember Google talking about this. I think it was last year when they did this big rollout of, hey, this is what's coming. They took the phone around in the demo, and AI was looking through the phone and then responding to what was being seen. Okay, so things like facial recognition, um, object detection in videos and images. So if you have a Ring camera, have you noticed that sometimes it says motion detected? And then other times it says a person has been detected at your front door, or a car has been detected in your driveway, or whatever, things like that. It calls out, I don't know if it calls out animals, but cars versus people and so forth, right? That's under seeing the world. I understand there's even quality control in manufacturing is using some of this technology where they have in a manufacturing plant, they might have a camera or some type of device watching the line as it goes through, and it can recognize dysfunctions in anomalies, or what's the word I'm looking for? Defects on your line. So there's that. And then finally, the fourth branch is acting in the world, interacting with the environment. So this is fun, robotics, interacting with the world around it. Autonomous vehicles, right? Waymo, can't think of some of the other ones. AI agents, those are all the rage right now. You'll hear people talking about AI agents where they can take over your computer and do stuff. So acting in the world, those agents are not physical and in the physical world like robotics and the cars, but they're on your computer. Maybe they're in the cloud, maybe they're on your server or in a network or something, and they're acting within that environment. Okay, so autonomous drones. That's an example of AI acting in the world. Algorithmic trading, right? There are agents out there in the, playing in the stock, not playing, but, working in the stock market for people, doing trades and so forth based on algorithms. So yeah, so I mean, like I mentioned, AI is broad. So when someone says AI, you want to know what it is they're talking about. So I hope this helps you understand a little better what AI actually is. So yeah, I'm going to take a minute and take a peek at the chat and see if I've missed any comments while we're going along. So while I'm doing this, I'll just mention that we developed a 4-day challenge where we'll touch more on AI and its capabilities for productivity specifically, and more specifically with regard to project management. And then we'll also give you details about that at the end of our presentation. So I'm not seeing any comments, so we'll keep it moving. All right, so we just told you what AI is. So now I want to answer the question, what's the big deal about it? Why is this such a big deal, and what does it bring to the table for project management? So it's very useful for handling repetitive tasks, automating workflows, providing predictive insights so you can make decisions, data analysis. And as I mentioned before, the speed at which it does these things is beyond what we can do as humans. Imagine having a tool that can analyze all of your project data at lightning speed, identify potential risks or budget overruns before they even happen. So AI can tell us things like, hey, this task is probably going to cause a delay, or hey, check it out, your budget's about to run over, right? So those things, identifying patterns, spotting issues, and optimizing processes, that's AI's superpower. That's what it's about. That's how it's so valuable. So let's address the elephant in the room, and let's just put it on the table. Is AI going to take your job as a project manager? If someone asked me that, I would ask them, well, what do you do as a project manager? Not all project managers are created equal. We're not all out here doing the same thing, okay? So are you simply tracking tasks? Are you gathering data and pushing out emails and status reports? In some cases, that's what people are doing in a project management role. And if that's the bulk of what you do, then I'd say yes, I'd be concerned. If the value you provide to your organization is largely one of these things, I mean, the bulk of it, then yes, you should be concerned about AI taking your job. I'm just going to pause to make sure y'all heard me. Because I'm not about to sit here and say, no, AI is not going to take, AI is going to take some people's jobs. And with regard to project management, those are the ones that should be concerned. If the bulk of what you do is what AI can do better, yes. Now, that doesn't mean the human project manager is obsolete. We're not here to tell you that and, paint gloom and doom. In fact, it highlights where the real value in project management lies. And you'll hear Pierre Lemon, the CEO of PMI, talk about this a lot. It's in the leadership, the strategic thinking, the complex stakeholder management, the nuanced communication, and the adaptability to truly ambiguous situations. That's where the value lies in being a project manager. These are the areas where human intelligence, especially emotional intelligence, still reigns supreme. Did I say that so it's clear? Emotional intelligence. I got tongue tied for a minute when I was saying that. So yeah, we know as projects aren't just about, scheduling and tasks, but they're about people working together to accomplish something, right? So instead of feeling like, ooh, I'm afraid AI is going to replace me, put your focus on developing and honing these uniquely human skills. That's your future proofing. So Jane's going to talk more about that in a few minutes, but let me mention again that we've got a 4-day challenge coming up that will help you do that exact thing. We called it Fear the Future because as true advocates for the project management profession, we want everyone to succeed and get past this moment, be it scary or not. It's a significant change. I was watching a video this morning while I was at the gym, and someone from Microsoft was saying, oh, AI is going to change the nature of work. Now, that's what everybody's saying now. It's going to change the nature of work. So we need to be ready for it, right? And change is scary to people. Fear of the unknown is scary to people. So that's why we're here to clear some things up and make it less scary. So yeah, so I know I laid out some things that, what AI does best and how it can help with project management, but let's get more specific on some use cases and how AI can be used specifically in project management. So automated task creation and prioritization. If you're doing agile, sprint planning and estimation. All right. Sprint planning and estimation, resource allocation and scheduling, content creation and personalization. So content creation, like creating your charter, your status reports, and so forth. Any content you create, AI can help you with that. Performance prediction and optimization. A lot of these things that are mentioned here are not necessarily just some piece of software sitting somewhere waiting for you to pick it up and say, okay, this particular thing just does sprint planning. A lot of this stuff is being built into the tools that you currently use. So Jira, Monday.com, Smartsheet, Microsoft Project. What else is out there? ClickUp, Asana. All these tools are starting to pull in AI functionality to do these things for you as a project manager. To get more specific, let's say you're a marketing project manager. AI can be used for predicting campaign performance and optimizing resource allocation. It can analyze data from previous campaigns and market trends and consumer behavior, and then forecast the potential success of different marketing initiatives, right? So this would allow the project manager to allocate budgets and resources more effectively across various marketing channels. Let's say you're in healthcare. It could do patient flow optimization, right? Resource allocation. It can analyze historical patient data and admission patterns and staff availability and make all that stuff much easier for the healthcare project manager. And of course, event planning. If you're an event planner, you're a project manager because each event is a project. So AI could help you with crowd management. In real time while your event's going on, it could give you information about what's happening in certain areas. So if the crowd density and flow is too much in one area, you can make adjustments. It can offer things to the people attending the conference, things like a chatbot, right? Personalized recommendations for sessions, networking opportunities. Like how many of you have been at a conference lately and you had an app that had AI on it that allowed you the capability to chat with other conference attendees, maybe check into another, one of the sessions and so forth. So all those things would free the project manager up to do other things, other more important, well, I won't say more, more important, more human-like things. Okay. Let's see. Looking good on time. All right. So I looked up data from this past year, the past 12 months or so. And here's what I found. 77% of companies are using or exploring the use of AI in their businesses. So many of them are increasing their investment in AI for projects. I don't know about you, but I've been hearing all over the news how much money is being poured into investing in AI. Number one, I've been hearing it's super expensive to run. Number one, so you're here the Microsoft, OpenAI, Amazon, Google, all of those software monsters setting up data warehouses to run, to be able to run all this AI stuff. So all that money is being poured into it, not to mention other companies that are using AI and trying to figure out how to implement it within their companies. They're spending loads and loads of money doing that. 49% of project managers have little to no experience with or understanding of AI in the context of project management. So that's why, we talked about it. That's why I made sure I brought out some use cases, how it can be used specifically for the things that project managers do. I'm sure a lot of you have probably played with the image generators and had fun with it and the chat bots, and you've done things, for your personal life. But I was at a PMI meeting a couple of weeks ago, and one person asked, "Hey, can you give me use cases of how AI is being used as a project manager?" And the person gave an answer that just kind of talked about generically how, AI is being used. And the questioner was kind of like, "No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking specifically for what project managers do. This is a PMI meeting. I'm looking for how can I take AI and use it in my job as a project manager." So that's what people are asking for. It's one thing to know, oh, this AI thing, it's out here, it's cool, but what can it do for me? So that's what we're telling you, and we're trying to help you with here and in our 4-day challenge. This third data point here, 80% of project management work will be done by artificial intelligence by 2030. Now, what does that mean? First of all, let me see who said that. That was Forbes. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Forbes or McKinsey. So Forbes said that, and I think it was 2023 that they said that. So 2023. I'd be interested to see what they're saying now. This does not mean that AI is going to replace 80% of project managers. So please don't read that into this quote. It's just saying that AI is going to be involved in project management work, the majority of it, by the year 2030. Okay. And again, these are insights. Remember, I talked about the crystal ball that nobody has. So, take this with a grain of salt, but understand that this is the way the market's going. So there's a high interest in AI, but it's still considered the early stages for many. There are barriers to adoption like limited understanding of AI, lack of a clear strategy, ethical, privacy, and security concerns, and AI technology immaturity. So everybody's not jumping on the bandwagon right away, but a lot of people are moving in that direction. So I'd be remiss in mentioning AI and not the fact that there are some challenges with using it. We've got data privacy, bias, transparency, and how it works, and be able to explain why it comes up with some of the things it comes up with. Autonomy and control and accountability and responsibility. It's critical that we be responsible for using these AI tools, not only for the creators of the tools, but it's also for those of us using the tools, right? So as a project manager, you use AI and it gives you this, I don't know, this decision, this information or whatever, and it's wrong, or you take an action and it's wrong. Are you going to say, "Oh, it's not me, it's AI," right? You have to determine, who is accountable, who takes responsibility for what this AI does. Okay. So I listed some organizations here that are focused on the ethics and bias in AI. So I'm not going to go through them all, but if you're interested in that, I would start with these organizations. So I'm trying to speed up here, Jan. I don't know if you notice.
It's fun.
Okay. So yeah, AI is going to change the landscape of project management. And if your primary contribution has been tasks that are increasingly automated, you're in trouble. But I would tell you to think of AI not as a replacement, but as a powerful tool. Your role is evolving into one of strategic orchestrator. I think I'll put that on a t-shirt. Strategic orchestrator, right?
Yeah.
Leveraging, hmm?
I said that's good. Yeah.
Yes. Leveraging AI's capabilities to handle the data heavy lifting and then freeing yourself up to focus on the human elements are critical to project success. So, what this means is strong leadership, effective collaboration, navigating complex interpersonal dynamics, and making those judgment calls that require context and empathy. It's about working with AI, not being replaced by it. So, now let's touch specifically on the human centric part of project management. Jan?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm back. Thanks, Teresa, so much for the excellent job you did in presenting a high level overview of AI for us. I'm briefly going to remunerate on how important the people side, the human centric side, is for the success of a project. We need to focus not only on technology, but also on people. Even now, there's not that big of emphasis on the people that do the projects. AI is a great technological tool. However, we can't forget about the people affected by it and what their needs are. Today, we're going to talk a little about how important both emotional intelligence and leadership are to AI success. Emotional intelligence, the human touch, AI can't replace. You have to understand that. That's so important. That gives me peace of mind when you think about being replaced by machine. They can't replace the human touch. As project managers, we need to possess critical interpersonal skills, such as leadership and EI, just like the new PMBOK has recommended. But also more other research has recommended that when working with AI, there are other critical interpersonal skills needed, such as communication, conflict resolution, and empathy. Now, communication is essential in any job, in any relationship. It's key to getting things done correctly. I think it's one. I think it's essential in all facets of life. But with AI, once the project manager receives the data from the project manager, this is what Teresa touched on. You need to communicate that data with the team to determine what it means. Is it right? A lot of people just take what they've received from AI and turn it in as the gospel truth. Well, garbage in, garbage out. If you haven't checked to make sure it's correct to meet the needs that you did it, the reason you created the report or whatever, then it's going to cause issues. How will this data, and then you need to look at how will this data affect the team, the stakeholders, and the organization. Now, the next interpersonal skills, and by the way, PMI doesn't call them soft skills anymore. They call them power skills, which I like. I think that they're not soft, they're not easy, but I like to use the term interpersonal skills. Is conflict resolution, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. I believe most conflict is based on miscommunication. That's why it's so important to establish lines of communication at the start of the project and continue throughout. That's another fault that I've seen, lack of communication in projects. Sometimes in the beginning, it's rah, rah, let's all talk, and it doesn't go through the whole project. An open environment is needed where everyone feels free to express their ideas and not to feel like if you have bad news, it's the philosophy of kill the messenger. Now, the third interpersonal skill is empathy. We're going to talk about that a lot in the challenge in May. What is empathy? Is empathy the same as symphony? Sympathy. I had a young man walk out of my class. He was a nurse. He was with the VA, and he said to the class, saying, if I had empathy for everyone, I would go crazy. Well, he did not understand the difference between empathy and sympathy. What is the difference? I would ask, but nobody's out there. Empathy, putting yourself into other people's shoes so you can understand. The key word is understand where they're coming from. You try to see their perspective and respect. That's another key word. Their points of view, even if you don't agree. Sometimes, and I've seen this in my career, that different viewpoints lead to more creative and inventive solutions to a problem. Okay, now the next slide. I like this slide. I think Teresa's very creative with her slides and her artwork here. This slide perfectly depicts our previous discussion on conflict. Notice a robot in the center. That's AI, okay? And he's surrounded by a team discussing an issue. Who do you think represents the project manager? The poor gray-headed guy. He's probably only 35. He's the guy in the middle. No one on the team looks happy. AI can't resolve conflict, but a project manager can. This is a visual of what we just talked about in conflict resolution. Just to reiterate, I'm going to read this key point. It's exactly what I had talked to you about. AI cannot replace the human ability to sense and resolve tension within a team. While AI offers insight, the project manager must balance technology with interpersonal relationships to keep teams harmonious. I can't say it enough. People tend to hear AI and don't understand how important the people side, the human-centric side, in cooperation, in tandem, in partnership with AI, how important it is. Okay, next. Emotional intelligence and emotional quotient. We talked about that. We keep saying EI, and then every once in a while you'll see EQ. Well, what is it? EI is an awareness of how you handle your own emotions and respond to those of others. Okay, that's what we're talking about. That's what a good leader, a good project manager needs to identify, assess, and manage their personal emotions and those of others. Now, what's EQ? It's the measurement of your emotional intelligence. How well do you handle these things? We offer an assessment in our challenge later in May. I was going to say later this month, but it's in May, beginning of May. Teresa will let you know about this later. Now, I think the last two lines are so important on this slide. Many behaviorists believe that EI is more important for success than IQ, which there's a lot of debate about it, but people are leaning towards that being the truth. Okay, EQ managing teams. A PM with a strong EQ keeps the teams engaged, motivated, and productive. EQ interprets the people side of the data that AI has generated. This lessens burnout and problems with communication, solving conflict, and lack of empathy, which we have talked about earlier. Can AI help the emotional side of an issue? No. So you see why understanding what EQ is and knowing your score and what you can do better is very advantageous while working with AI. Again, this is why the EQ assessment in the challenge is so beneficial. PM leadership roles. The project manager is in a leadership role, because we talked about EI and then leadership, and needs to guide a team in its development. In addition to training, if additional training is needed for a project, it should be given. On-the-job training is good, but not always appropriate. It's more efficient to send someone to learn a new software than for them to try to figure it out by itself. So many times managers are hung up on the cost and time it takes, but it takes more time and wasted money by them learning by trial and error. I've learned that when Microsoft Office came out, companies tried to do that. They wanted them to use the software, didn't train them on that, and it just took 10 times longer until they figured out how to do it. It's important to get the people training that they need, develop the skills, which will help them down the road become a better team member. Maturity, you want a high-performing team. You do this by monitoring them through the 5 stages of team development. Do all teams reach the high performance level? No, but it's impossible unless you have the right leader and using the leadership styles that's necessary to reach that high performance team level. The third one's accomplishment. Everybody wants to be recognized for their good work, but it's important to understand and to recognize people the way they want to be recognized. Some people want to be recognized, not just in their department, but throughout the whole organization. Well, other people would die and they would like a one-on-one and maybe a letter of recognition that they can put in their file. And then the last one is to paint a vision on how the team will contribute to the strategic success of the organization. So many times, people come up with ideas to have projects or programs that don't align with the strategic vision of the organization. Everyone wants to know why they're doing this project and how to get there. The key takeaway from all of this is our goal today is to lessen your fear of AI and to realize it's not the be all and end all of your project solutions. It is important to remember that AI is technical data. It is the project manager's responsible to make sure the data is correct, which requires reasoning and experience. It is also the project manager's responsibility to the team to ensure that their needs and the needs of the stakeholders are always considered. Okay, conclusion, the future of PM is human-centric. And we've talked about this all along. Teresa, do you want to talk about the challenge real quick?
Oh, sure. Well, yeah.
Because it's fun.
Yeah, I'm moving this. So we're a little over, but so basically, this is the challenge that we've been talking about. It's the Fear the Future 4-day challenge, where you can not only focus in on your leadership skills, your emotional intelligence, those things that AI can't do, and you must do as a project manager. But we're also going to show you how to use AI in your project management role to increase your productivity and get some hands-on experience with this AI thing. So our early bird expires this weekend, I believe. So you can scan this QR code, um, and that will take you directly to the landing page. So thank you so much
Well,
for
thank
being
you.
with us today. We'd love to connect with you. You know, you can find us on LinkedIn. I think I'm going to put a recording of this presentation on my YouTube channel. So if you missed any part of it, you can go back and watch it. And that's at Teresa Durham 1005 on YouTube. And also, this is how you can reach out to Jan. That's her email there. And the best way to reach me is LinkedIn. And of course, there's my business website. So please do reach out to us for whatever. We're nice people.
We'd like to help you understand what's going on in this chaotic environment right now.
Yes, we do. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And hopefully we did answer some questions and get you set on the right path with AI and the future of project management. So thanks again. We'll see you another time.
Thank you. Bye.
Right. Bye.
Are we off?